30 years ago, a woman in a red dress and a man who thought he had it all showed us that love can change everything. The world watched their fairy tale unfold. But what happens after happily ever after? The screen darkens. A soft piano echoes, playing the first notes of the iconic melody. Lights of Los Angeles shimmer at sunrise, casting golden hues over the skyline. The city feels alive. But beneath the beauty is a quiet sense of longing. Asterisk, the trailer opens with wide shots of Los Angeles modern skyscrapers. Busy streets, luxury cars, gliding past glowing storefronts. We see life moving forward in all directions. Yet the voiceover slows time with a nostalgic reminder. Decades have passed, but the memory of their love has never faded. The screen transitions into black and white stills of the past. Silhouettes of a younger woman in a striking red dress flash by. A faceless man stands beside her, hand in hand, against the glittering backdrop of Beverly Hills. These aren't just images. They are echoes of a story that changed hearts worldwide. As the piano grows richer, the voiceover continues. She was a woman who believed in dreams. He was a man who thought he only needed success. Together, they proved the world wrong. We shift to the present day. The same streets are alive again, but time has left its mark. A middle-aged woman walks briskly, her silhouette recognizable even without a face. She still carries the same energy, the confidence of Vivian Ward, but now tempered with wisdom. She pauses outside a boutique, staring at a mannequin in a red dress. A faint smile curves her lips, a smile tinged with bittersweet memory. Cut to Edward Lewis. He stands in a high-rise office, gazing out at the city skyline. The years have added weight to his stance. The world sees a powerful man, but in his silence, we see loneliness. A framed photo rests on his desk, slightly turned away. Vivian, in a candid laugh, captured long ago. His hand lingers over the frame, but he doesn't touch it, almost as if the memory is too fragile. The narration deepens. They built a life together. They had their triumphs. But like all love stories, there's faced storms. The trailer shows fragments of those storms. An empty dining table set for two, a door closing quietly in the night. Vivian standing alone on a beach, watching the waves crash endlessly. Edward driving through the city in silence, headlights cutting through the dark. The music swells with quiet intensity, a string section layering over the piano, carrying a tone of regret and distance. Then, a sudden shift in tone. Laughter. A warm, golden scene of Vivian surrounded by friends, her energy still bright. Edward at a charity gala, speaking with composure. Their lives have moved on, but the gap between them lingers like an unspoken question. The voiceover asks, what if the greatest love of your life was not behind you, but waiting for a second chance? The section ends with a powerful visual callback. Vivian walks down the street at dusk, her heels clicking against the pavement, the city glowing around her. She passes a limousine parked by the curb. For a brief second, she stops, almost sensing something familiar. Inside, a faceless silhouette sits still, watching her pass. Neither speaks. The moment is fleeting, but heavy with possibility. The screen fades to black, and the music pauses on a single note. The words appear, "Pretty Woman 2, Second Chances *" The screen flickers back to life with a rush of rain against glass. The piano that once carried warmth now turns heavier, deeper, joined by the steady beat of a single drum. The voiceover sharpens, carrying the weight of truth. Time doesn't heal everything. Sometimes, it only makes the cracks wider. A faceless figure, Vivian sits, alone, at a kitchen table. Morning light spills through the window, but she doesn't touch the coffee in front of her. A folded letter lies unopened beside the cup. Her hand trembles as if she already knows what it says. The scene cuts abruptly to Edward, standing in a boardroom filled with faceless executives. His voice carries authority, his gestures firm, but when the camera lingers on his eyes, they reveal fatigue. He's a man who can command empires yet still feels. It's the silence of an empty home. The conflict begins to show itself not through loud arguments, but through the quiet. Moments of distance. The narration continues. They shared a life. But over the years, love turned into routine, and routine turned into silence. Montage fast cuts. Fragments of memory. Vivian watching Edward leave late at night, headlights fading down the driveway. Edward sitting at charity dinners, Vivian absent from the seat beside him, a phone call unanswered. A bouquet of flowers left unopened on the counter. The music swells with tension. It's no longer romantic, but edged with sorrow. Then, the trailer pivots, introducing the force that pushes their story forward. Vivian, now more independent, runs a small art gallery. We see her laughter, her charm, her ability to make others feel alive. A younger man appears in the background, charismatic and eager, offering her partnership on a new project. The voiceover cuts in. Someone new sees her worth. Someone willing to fight for it. Edward's world mirrors this. In a heated board meeting, a rival challenges him openly, questioning his values, his choices, his heart. The rival's words linger. Maybe love is your biggest weakness. The tension between personal and professional worlds tightens. We see Edward on a balcony at night, the city stretching endlessly below him. He grips the railing, his jaw tight, his thoughts racing. Meanwhile, Vivian walks through her gallery surrounded by color and life. But her smile falters when she notices a familiar face in the crowd. Their eyes meet, words silhouette across the room. The moment is electric, yet heavy with history. The narration deepens, almost whispering. Love doesn't end because we stop feeling it. Love ends because we stop choosing it. A storm sequence heightens the drama. Rain lashes against windows. Vivian paces in her home, voice cracking in silence as if arguing with herself. Edward drives through the downpour, the wipers barely clearing his vision. Both are caught in motion, searching, lost. Quick flashes, Vivian clutching the unopened letter again, Edward slamming his fist against the desk. A single glass shattering on the floor, the music builds toward a crescendo. Strings rising over the pounding drum, then dash silence. The trailer holds on a single shot. Vivian and Edward standing apart at opposite ends of a grand ballroom. Faceless, yet unmistakable, frozen in hesitation. The crowd around them moves in blurred slow motion. But their world stands still. The voiceover returns with a quiet power. They thought their story was over. But destiny has a way of reopening old doors. The screen fades to black. The faint sound of a heartbeat echoes. Then the words appear on screen. Second chances come with a price. Asterisk, the screen opens not with music, but with laughter bright, warm, disarming. A sharp contrast from the storm we've just witnessed. A young woman walks across a sunlit gallery, her footsteps echoing against marble floors. She carries herself with a quiet confidence, an unmistakable spark in her eyes. The narration slips in, soft yet resonant. Every love story leaves behind more than two hearts. It shapes lives. It creates legacies. The young woman stops before a painting Vivian's daughter, faceless but vibrant in her movements. She touches the frame gently, then turns toward her mother with a smile that is both comforting and challenging. Vivian lingers in the background, her silhouette familiar, watching her daughter with pride, but also with a trace of fear. The voiceover continues. For Vivian, her greatest masterpiece is not the gallery she built, but the daughter she raised. The focus shifts to Edward's world. We see his protégés, sharp, ambitious, faceless young executives who hang on his every word. They see him as a legend, but also as a man losing his edge. A rival figure, tall and commanding, steps forward, filling the space with arrogance. He challenges Edward not only in business, but in life. His words carry venom. Maybe the world has passed you by. Maybe it's time for a new generation to take everything you built. The score changes, an undercurrent of strings mixed with a faint heartbeat rhythm. The editing grows quicker, layering subplots that weave into the central love story. Vivian's daughter confiding in her mother, "You taught me what love looks like, but do you still believe in it?" Edward walking past a group of younger rivals whispering, their laughter echoing behind him. Vivian's gallery expanding with the help of her new partner. His admiration for her blurs the line between professional and personal. The trailer uses these moments to highlight the stakes beyond romance. Vivian is not just a woman in love, she is a mother, an artist, a dreamer still chasing her truth. Edward is not only a man who once chose love, he's a mentor, a fighter, a man torn between legacy and heart. The narration leans into this weight. Second chances are never given freely. They demand sacrifice and force us to face the people we've become. The pace rises. A swirl of montage fills the screen. Vivian's daughter arguing with Edward. Her anger sharp, her loyalty clearly to her mother. The rival businessman shaking hands with Vivian's gallery partner, creating tension that stretches beyond love into betrayal. A moment of tenderness, Vivian brushing her daughter's hair back during a quiet night, whispering words the audience can't hear. Edward mentoring a young executive, but his gaze drifts out the window. Distracted by memories of Vivian, the music grows darker, the strings sharp like unanswered questions. Then suddenly, silence breaks with Vivian's voice, not narration, but dialogue, the first words we clearly hear in the trailer. "You can't walk back into my life just because you feel alone." Her silhouette is steady, her tone unshaken, but behind her strength is pain. Edward, standing opposite her, doesn't answer. The camera lingers on the distance between them. The narrator returns with a final reminder, in a story built on love. The hardest battles are never against the world, but against ourselves. The section closes on a subtle but powerful image. Vivian's daughter watching her mother from a doorway, Edward standing on the opposite side of the room. She sees both of them, caught between past and present. Wondering if love is worth the fight, the screen fades to black and the music holds on a haunting, unresolved note. On-screen text, "Pretty Woman 2, Second Chances." Every heart has a choice. Asterisk, the screen bursts alive with motion, rain-soaked streets. Headlights blurring into streaks of gold and silver. The music surges, strings clashing with a heartbeat like drum, faster, louder, urgent. A voiceover breaks through, no longer gentle, but sharp and raw. Every love story has a choice, to walk away or to fight for it. We cut to Vivian, her silhouette framed against her gallery's grand opening. The crowd cheers, champagne glasses clink, flashbulbs explode like fireworks. Yet, in the middle of the celebration, her smile falters. Across the room, Edward stands silently, half hidden in the shadows. Their eyes meet, and the world slows. The sound fades, placed by the thunder of her racing heart. The screen cuts fast. Edward storms out of a boardroom, tie loosened, fists clenched. Vivian slams a gallery door shut, leaning against it with trembling hands. The narrator whispers, "Love demands courage." But courage comes with pain. A rapid-fire montage crashes onto the screen, each cut faster than the last. Edward running through pouring rain, his suit drenched, chasing something unseen. Vivian clutching the old red dress, holding it to her chest, as if it were a memory made flesh. A diamond ring slipping from Edward's fingers, bouncing once on a marble floor. Vivian's daughter crying, shouting words the trailer does not reveal, before storming out into the night. Edward standing before a mirror, ripping off his tie, its reflection fractured in shards of broken glass. The music intensifies, building toward a fever pitch. A modern orchestral remix of Pretty Woman swells beneath the chaos. Twisting the familiar tune into something haunting yet powerful, the camera cuts back to Vivian, her heels clicking across wet pavement, her red umbrella snapping open against the storm. She turns a corner and freezes. Edward stands there, soaked, breathless, desperation in every line of his stance. For a moment, time stops. The rain becomes slow motion, the city lights a blur of gold. He takes a step forward. She hesitates. The narrator leans in, almost a whisper, when the past and the present collide. Only the truth remains. The final montage explodes onto the screen, Vivian walking into a ballroom in a new red dress, the crowd parting around her. Edward sprinting through a crowded airport, the urgency in his stride undeniable. Vivian's daughter placing her hand gently on her mother's shoulder, eyes full of unspoken forgiveness. A limousine door slamming shut. A bouquet of roses falling into the street, crushed beneath rushing footsteps. Edward lifting Vivian into his arms in a fleeting embrace, faces hidden, silhouettes lit against a backdrop of fireworks. The music cuts suddenly to silence. A single piano note lingers. On screen, white text fades in against the black. Love never goes out of style. Then the final line of narration. Low and steady, carrying the weight of both heartbreak and hope. Julia Roberts. Richard Gere. Together again. In the story you never thought you'd see, the screen flashes with the title card in bold gold letters. Pretty Woman 2, second CHANCES, followed by Coming 2025. The trailer ends on one final sound, the faint, familiar opening riff of Pretty Woman, but just as it begins to rise, the screen cuts to black.